Okay, this is going to be a quick video on how to look at your returned homeworks. You all should receive an email from me with a file attachment that looks something like this. You have at the beginning the course number, then a hyphen, and then which term. So this is summer 2019, and then a hyphen, and then the assignment. So this is homework 1. Okay, and then you have a dot, and multi means this was a multiple choice assignment, it wasn't a lab. Okay, and then dot graded. And then finally dot JSON. JSON 5 is the extension of this file, and it gives you a little information about what to expect inside of the file. JSON 5 is a data structure format. Okay, so it's a way of organizing data in a text file, and it's commonly used in lots of different, especially web languages, but it's used in all sorts of different environments. And we'll open this up with just a text editor of your choice. Okay, so on Linux here, I'm going to open my text editor, and this is gedit. On Windows, you might have Notepad or something like that, and on Mac, just use the system text editor. Eventually, we'll show you how to use Atom, which is what you can use on all 3 of those systems once you get it installed. Okay, so I need to open this file. It's on my desktop. Here we go. Okay, so in JSON 5, you have these curly brackets, and they surround what are known as objects. Okay, so here's the end curly bracket to this very beginning curly bracket. So this entire thing is an object, and every object has a series of key value pairs. So here's the key, and this is the value of that item at that key. Okay, so I have an object here. This object represents your graded assignment. Okay, so this is the student's name. So the name of that property is name, and then the student's name is John Smith. Okay, the property email has that user's email address. Okay, then we have the property ISU username and jsmith999. Okay, so each one of these, this is the property name, and then a colon, and then the value stored in that property. Alright, so what we have here at the very top is the name that just shows you, make sure it's your name, and then you have your total score, so that's what you got on the assignment, how many were possible, okay, and then score for perfect. So sometimes I'll have an assignment where there will be 30 possible, but to get 100% it might be 28, because it might be a hard assignment or something, and I might curve it down. Okay, so in this case, the points possible and the score for perfect are the same. Okay, the percentage of your total score. So this is your total score out of the points possible, right? And then adjusted percentage total score would be your total score over the score for perfect. Okay, they happen to be the same this time. All right, so after that we have this property. Missed questions. Okay, so these are all the questions that you would have missed, and we see this is a square bracket now instead of a curly bracket. Okay, the curly bracket is an object, which means we have a key and a value. Key and a value. Okay, with the square bracket we're talking about a list or an array, and the items in an array do not have a key. They're just a list of values. So each one of these values in this list is another object. Okay, so this object here that's highlighted represents a missed question. Alright, so what kind of question was it? It was a multiple choice question. What is the question text? So this is the text of that particular question. Choices, these were the choices to choose from, and again we see this square bracket here. That means this is a list of items. So choices is a key, and the value of that key is a list of items. So each one of these items is a string of characters. So these are the multiple choice options that you had when you were taking the test. Okay, so what is the general definition of an absolute path? A path to a file or directory that begins from the root of the file system. Right, so slash is the root of the file system, that's the root directory. Each subdirectory between the root and the target location is contained in the path, and they are separated by slashes. Okay. So if we see the next square bracket here, all of this, all of these are the choices, the possible choices for your multiple choice question. All right. Answer is the correct answer for this question, and it says 0. Okay, because this is a list. This is the index of the item in the list that was correct. All right. In computer science, you always start counting with 0. All right. So 0, the answer 0, means that it's this first one is the correct answer. Okay, so this would be index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2, this is index 3, and this is index 4. Okay, so the number there is associated with the index of the correct answer. All right, now the answer text, this is the correct answer and the text value of the correct answer. So this is a path to a file or directory that begins from the root of the file system /. As we see, this answer text is the same as if we go to choices and look at the 0th item. Okay, so the item number 0, the index of 0 is the first item in this, right? So it's really important in computer science. This comes up all the time. When you count things, generally you start with 0. Okay, so the answer text we see is the same as the item 0 in choices. Okay, so that's the correct answer. All right. This ID is just the ID number of the question, and then response text is what you answered. So this is what someone answered, the path representing the root of the file system. That's incorrect. The path representing the root of the file system is just /. Okay, and so the response ID would be the index value of the choice that you answered. Okay, so response text is what you answered, answer text is the correct answer. All right, so if we look up here in choices, we have 0, 1, and 2, the path representing the root of the file system. And here you have student answered number 2, which the text is the path representing the root of the file system. Okay, so now we're through this first missed question. This is the first item in the list. So the square bracket means list. It's the first item in the list of missed questions. The next item in the list. So this is another multiple choice. What is the general definition of a relative path? So here are your choices. Square bracket, so that means it's a list. All right, so the correct answer is item 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Any path that is not absolute. Any path that is not absolute. Relative paths have an implied beginning relative to some directory in the file system. Okay. ID is the ID of the question. This is what you answered. A path to a file relative to your home directory. And then this is the index of the choices list for this answer. So 0, 1. A path to the relative, or a path to a file relative to your home directory. And we see that text is the same here. Okay, so when you get these files back, that's how you look at them, and that's how you determine what you did, what you answered, and which ones were incorrect. All right, and I will go through. This is just relative to your personal test taking experience or homework taking experience. Okay, so these are just the questions you missed. After each assignment, I'm going to go through and do. I have a separate file that's analytics on all of the homeworks. So it'll go over every question that any student missed and what the right answer is. So even the ones that you may have gotten right, some other students might have missed, and we'll go over those. So that, for every single homework, we're going to go over, have a short video on the answers to the homework and which ones people missed. Okay? So that's how you understand this homework file that you get. All right, that's it for this video.